Hello, thanks for joining us. It's Tuesday Live. I am Omini Odan. Poverty and unemployment are said to be a two-sided of the coin that slow the pace of growth and development of nations. It's against this that entrepreneurship, seen as the engine for job creation, innovation and diversification, is being pursued. Stand taken seriously by government that is yielding results. The frontline agency in this regard is the National Directorate of Employment (NDE) that has, among other things, been empowering the citizenry through loans and provision of startups kits for self-reliance that will translate to the growth of the nation's gross domestic product (GDP). More for Nigerians through the complementary efforts of the National Women's Center for Development as part of its empowerment programs in improving the lives of the people. To the credit are trained women on tiling, bricks laying, and other construction works dominated in the past by men. Analysts believe that all the efforts are geared towards building a stronger Nigeria and to step more actions to actualize President Muhammadu Buhari's resolve to uplift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. Where are other areas of synergy for more effective results? How well are Nigerians keen into these? Answers and more tonight on NTS Tuesday Live after this background report by Onenge Fineface.
Federal government intends to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years. To achieve this feat, several programs have been initiated to create sustainable jobs for the people, especially youth. National Social Investment Program is one of the foremost initiatives in place to this effect. Through the program, several Nigerians have accessed the trader money loan to start small businesses and expand existing ones. Policies are also formulated to encourage greater investment and participation in agriculture and agri-businesses. For instance, to promote agricultural production in the country, the federal government placed a ban on the importation of some food items like rice. This has raised the bar in agricultural production, created more jobs for Nigerians and contributed to food security in the country. Commodity pyramids for which Nigeria was famous are already rising due to the policies designed to promote more investments in agriculture. Very important is the closure of Nigeria's borders to checkmate illegal importation of banned products and smuggling of commodities at the expense of the nation's economy.
Smuggling, there is no way we can achieve self-sufficiency in rice. With smuggling, there is no way the rice mills will survive. With smuggling, Nigeria will continue to be importer of rice forever.
In line with contemporary business practices, Nigeria also adopted new trends in information and communication technology. This was illustrated in the transmutation of the Federal Ministry of Communications to Communications and Digital Economy. The transmutation opened new vistas of opportunities for jobs in ICT as a viable sector of the economy. Of a more immediate impact is the trainings provided by the National Directorate of Employment (NDE). In 2017, the NDE trained and provided jobs and support services to 409,488 Nigerians. The NDE achieved this through programs such as trainings in vocational and technical skills acquisition, rural employment promotion, trainings in entrepreneurship, transient and labor-based jobs, job centers, loans, and collaboration with other agencies. In 2018, a total of 239,126 persons benefited from various schemes of the NDE, which include Basic National Open Apprenticeship, trainings in cosmetology, Sustainable Agricultural Training Scheme, food processing and packaging, beautification training, solar energy trainings, graduate special trainings, among others. Similarly, trainings were carried out in 2019, producing 294,115 beneficiaries.
The National Council for Women's Societies, NCWS Nigeria, has watched your impressive record to train youth to have prerequisite life skills and tools to earn a living as a way to alleviate poverty. In recent years, under your creative leadership, the agency has developed several strands and entrepreneurial programs.
The women are making the washing up liquid, and we've organized and supplied the hospital. Yes, it's incredible, the difference. And what amazed me was the number of the women that actually did turn up and learned new skills which they've used to empower themselves and enrich their families. So on behalf of all of them in Kwara and all the other states, let me thank NDE for that.
With support from some state governments, the National Directorate of Employment has also provided demand-driven training services for youth and women in some states of the country, several of which have been concluded as at February 2020.
And the fact that we know women are vulnerable, we also have a program called MIS, Micro Enterprises Enhancement Scheme, whereby we meet these mothers at the grassroots whose capital is no more than 5,000 or so. We go in, give her direct interest-free loan of 10,000 naira. As far as issue of tackling unemployment is concerned, wherever we need to collaborate, we go and we'll have the collaboration.
National Center for Women Development is another organization that has contributed to the attainment of the vision of the federal government to create 100 million jobs in 10 years.
If you are a trainee, you train in tiling, you start working as a trainer, as a tiler, you have your clients coming, it boosts you, make money, make your income, and it revert back to the society. And that takes us to what we have like unpaid economic care workers.
The center has trained and empowered several women from the 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. Beneficiaries of NCWD empowerment programs are trained as artisans in generator repairs, plumbing, pipe fitting, tiling, masonry, and air conditioner repairs. While empowering women to become financially independent, self-employed citizens, the crafts they acquire also help them to break gender barriers by thriving in hitherto male-dominated professions.
Because we have this unemployment issue here in Nigeria, if we open our own workshops here, we can at least employ some other people here.
100 million jobs is a lofty dream, but with the little steps taken each day by agencies of government, the future seems promising. In Abuja, Onengie Fine Face.
The National Directorate of Employment and Job Creation in Nigeria is the focus of Tuesday Live tonight. Our Onengie Fine Face report sets the tone for the takeoff of the program tonight. At some point on the program, we shall bring you reports across the country from our stations and some centers. And also, along the program, we shall open our phone lines, and your phone, if you put your phone call through, turn down the volume of your television set to avoid the hallback. And when you make your call, raise your concerns, raise your questions, and we shall try to address them appropriately. Also, you can be part of the conversation to our Twitter handle at Tuesday Live NTA. Send in your tweets, and we shall address them. Well, my team of guests are in the studio. Today we shall be doing Abuja and Lagos. From Abuja, we have the Director General, National Director of Employment, NDE, Dr. Nasiru Ladan Mohammed Arungo. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Mary Ekpere Etta, Director General, National Center for Women Development, NCWD. She's also a legal practitioner. Good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Abubakar Yunusa Ahmad, representing Yamal Tudiba Federal Constituency of Gombe State, the Federal House of Representatives. Good to have you on the program. He's also a member of the House Committee on AIDS, Debts and Loans. Good to have you once again. And from our Lagos studios, we have Professor Shade Akosun, Director, Entrepreneurship Research and Development Center of the Kaduna State Polytechnic. Welcome to Tuesday Live.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Just to correct, I'm Professor of Economics from Kaduna State University.
Welcome once again. It's a pleasure having you, gentlemen. Let's begin. Key to whatever we are doing, if you take a critical look at when NDE took off, has been data. And that's one of the core mandates of NDE. And it says clearly that one of your mandates to obtain and maintain a data bank on employment and vacancies in the country with a view to acting as a clearinghouse to link job seekers with vacancies in collaboration with other government agencies. On track?
Well, thank you very much. Right. If I take you back to memory lane, you know NDA has been in existence for the past 34 years. Apart from our corporate head office, we have 6 zonal offices. We have 36 states, 37 including FCT. Out of the 774 local governments, we have 691 desk officers. In terms of our facilities, we have 125 vocational skill development centers all over the Federation. We have 75 agri-training centers. We have 2 giant agri-parks with dormitory facilities, one in Okanu, Ondo State, one in Sabwa, Katsina State. Some of us that are old enough in the early 80s and late 90s were all our so-called school on wheels. Right now we have 26 of them that are functional. We have what we call common facility centers, which we normally build and hand over to community based on what they want to produce, and we have 10 of them. So if you look at our widespread, as far as issue of job creation, provision of employment, ND is the heartbeat. And as some of us are aware, the mandate given to us by the government is to create jobs and provide employment. I have been in NDE for almost 3 years now. And once I was appointed as the DG NDE, the first thing I did is to try as much as I can to find out the magnitude of unemployment. Because it is only when you realize the magnitude of the problem, then you can start planning on how to solve the problems. And I decided to run to government agencies like NCC, Galaxy Backbone, NIDA, NIMSI, NatComSat, an Office of the Statistician of the Federation. And I got what I was looking for from NIMSI, zone by zone, state by state. And I was shocked because what I found is beyond my wildest imagination. So we have to come back to the drawing table. As at then, NDE was training in over 80 different trades. But I decided to streamline everything to just about 16, based on demand driven. Yes, the question you asked, as far as being the linkage between employers and employees and keeping out the data, exactly this is part of what we are supposed to do. And after due consultations, we realized that a lot of our young men and women are risking their lives in trying to get to Europe for a greener pasture. Most of them died within the Mediterranean Sea or Sahara Desert. And we came up with what we call NDEI, ND International. The aim of this unit is to try as much as we can to minimize their movement. We cannot stop them from trying to get to Europe. But we tried as much as we can to make sure that even if they are going, they can go in dignity and style. We created a website, www.nde.org.org, for anybody that is interested, because we have that robot website, so that they can go in, key in, put in all their data, and we open the whole portal to the whole world, so that anybody that is looking for any form of skill, semi-skill, on-skill from Nigeria, he can just go in there. so that whosoever wants to go to anywhere to work, will ensure that we monitor him, we link him to that individual organization through their various embassies. So that, as I said, they travel in style and in dignity, and that their interests will be protected as far as what they are supposed to be paid. And the whole aim is to try as much as we can to eliminate middlemen, so-called traffickers. So it's part of what we're doing. And if you look at our other departments, we have 4 departments in NDE. We have the vocational skill development, under which we have programs that we call Mega BNOS, Mega Basic National Open Apprentice Scheme. This is a program that involves mainly training young men and women in various trades. What we normally do, the fact that we are virtually everywhere, we issue out forms and there is no parental treatment as far as ND is concerned. You go to any of our offices at the state or at local government, pick a form, fill it, indicate the trade you want us to train you. We give you ID card, attendant register, and logbook. We look for a very good artisan or master crafter and attach you to him. We collect your bank details, including your BBN number. The only condition is to attend your place of work at least 20 times in a month. That will qualify you
20 times
in a month. That will qualify you to get the stipends that we normally pay. And one good thing about it, we are able to succeed because we don't move anybody. We leave you within your locality. We train you there. After you train, we give you startup pack so that you can be on your own. Because we realize by the time you train somebody on a thread, after he graduated, you did not give him working tools or startup packs, you have wasted his time and your own time. Out of the total number we train within 3 years, I tell you, my brother, when I came to NDE 2015, 2016, and early part of 2017, because I came to NDE exactly on the 18th of April 2017, the total number of people that were trained are just 14,008. But as I'm talking to you, the number of
right
people
from
2014, 2015, 2016, and early part of 2017.
Okay.
But when I came to NDE on the 18th of April to date, we have hit a figure of 1,068,093.
Okay, let me hold you there. Honorable, he has reeled out mind-blowing statistics and what ND has done so far, given the number of years that existed within the short time as DG. Skills acquisition, training in the front burner, and employment creation. And within the focus of what we are doing tonight, which is NDE and job creation in Nigeria, the question of employability and self-employment is always a concern. What's your take on this?
Well,
as much as what the DG has said,
we heard what he said.
Employability
is really commendable,
okay,
but to me is far from being enough.
Okay.
Considering the target we set ourselves. My sister is here. Probably when she came up with their own, what they are doing in the women, the Center for Women Development, I hope is going to be a fantastic kind of a scenario. But come to think of it, the government agenda is getting out 100 million unemployed or providing 100 million employment in 10 years. When you now average it, you are talking of almost 10 million in a year. Going by the statistic of the director NDE, spread it over the period of 3 years, we have 1 million. Look at the snail speed we are with. We hope your own might be 5 million in 3 years. Be it as it may, I am looking at it. This is the government effort. Like I said, it's commendable. We cannot all rely on government. We should also explore other sources because unless we have 10 or 20 agencies that might be able to bring about 500 on the average yearly, we wouldn't achieve this target. Now the inadequacies, that is my concern. We as lawmakers, how do we provide the inadequacies, which is grossly? Now, it baffles me when you look at, it is because of our psyche, it is because of our orientation that Nigerians, how skillful we are, yet we don't use it. Are we still living in the era of the petrodollar in the 70s, in the 80s, even when during the time that we went, even at my primary school, I was given allowances to attend primary school. I attended a Roman Catholic mission primary school. I used to be given some milk. There's some incentive to attend primary 1 to 7. My secondary school days throughout, I used to be given pocket money, transfer money, uniform, setup. I've never used any personal. During Friday or Sundays, we have an outing gown, we have compound dress, we have 2 sets of, name it. What I'm trying to say here is that this is our era. But everybody now can believe that that era is no longer tenable. Now what are we doing? How do we give back to society? How can we change? Because I experimented personally 2007. I gave somebody from a village 5,000 naira out of that. Before 10 years, that person owned 3 commercial vehicles. Now, and he started by doing petty fish business. Go to the river, buy fish, 5,000, bring it to the city, bringing it to the town, then he later start taking it to a cosmopolitan area, let's say Gombe. This person has never get out of Gombe, but within this time period, with the fish business, he was able to attain 3 viable commercial vehicles.
So how do you relate that with employability and self-employment?
That is the issue. I'm trying to change our side, that we are sleeping on wealth. Wealth can be created, generated. We don't have to rely on government to continue dishing out things. Let me even give you my experience as I've been almost 2 or 3 times legislator, right from the state down to the federal. We partner with the executive, the NDE that are there, and then even the women development, I know they are there, but we have an envelope that we do what we call, provide what they call empowerment. But what is the baffling me is that if a member goes there and empowers people, buy this tricycle, sewing machine, whatever you give it to them, the so-called politicians, they are the constituent. The moment you are distributing these articles, they are already off-takers, buyers, that they can sell it at a discounting the price. So the aim ends up to be defeated.
Okay, let me put you on hold there. DG, the National Center for Women Development, we saw in one of the reports they're talking about what you have been doing. Will you say you are complementing what government is doing at the flank of NDE in the line of job creation in Nigeria?
Yes, we're doing very well. Like you could see, we are, though I think I would like to give you an insight on what the National Center for Women Development is, because we are not basically just a skill acquisition. We have other things we do to help the government make policy that to be in, to take care of issue of women in the nation. National Center for Women Development, the Center of Excellence for Gender Equality and Sustainable Women Development. Our mandate, first of all, the center was modeled after the United Nations International Research and Training Institute for the advancement of the cause of women. So we are not just a skill acquisition center, but a research center. We embark on a lot of research. First of all, if you provide skills and yet you still have poverty, there is need for you to know why you are not reaching the people you need to take a lot of research. You need to know, is it that the policies or the implementation is not getting to the grassroots, or just like he has mentioned, at the starter pack cell at the gate, on, whatever, on receive of those starter pack. So we're involved in a lot of research. We host the Nigerian Women Data Bank, that is every information as it pertains to women. If you want to get any information about women, you come to the center. We work in line with Bureau for Statistics and other agencies we collaborate with. We train and documentation. We keep records, an area of our training, or maybe first of all, the area of research.
So in all this, you're looking at job creation.
All this, we are looking at it holistically. Because if you're creating job, you must follow, you must carry on the research to know, this job, are they really making impact on the life of women or in the life of the Nigerian youth? Just like you mentioned, most times you create this job, you give them starter pack, you give them money, just by your gates, they are off takers to take this thing. So we try to look at this thing in holistic approach, basically by going into research. The center is not just a training institute, though we train a lot. We have the research, which is one of our major mandate. We carry research on women's health, entrepreneurship, violence against women, women, and insecurity, women's health, and a lot of other aspects of research that we do on paid women on paid care work. And what do you mean by women on paid care work? We talk about employment, creating jobs every day. There are some women who are really contributing to the nation building, but yet they are not registered in the GDP of the country. For instance, you have a woman, a housewife who is at home, who is working so hard, doing everything, taking care of the baby, taking care of the sick parents, or running the home. All these things are not aggregated into the national GDP. So all our efforts are left on notice. So we try to do research to see how we can bring in their contribution into the fore. And when you come to the area of training, we have a training institute. We have 3 or 4 basic type of training. We have the vocational skill, which is pomade making, soap, interior, outdoor decoration, fashion and design, and a lot of others. We have agro-biz as we call it. What is agro-biz? We train women on snaring, fish farming, poultry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you don't exhaust it. I'll come to you on the second leg. Now we'll take a couple of reports before then. But before we take those reports, you can be part of the conversation tonight. Our focus is on the National Director of Employment and Job Creation in Nigeria. Sorry. At some point, our phone lines will be opened and you send in your calls. And our Twitter handle once again is at Tuesday Live NTA. Before we take our reports, let's go to Lagos, where Professor of Economics is waiting. Prof, from the analysis made from Abuja, specifically that of the DG of NDE, the achievements so far over the years, even for the short period he has been in office. Let's look at job creation in Nigeria vis-a-vis the vision behind NDE and entrepreneurship. Where are we with it?
Chair, well, I double as Professor of Economics and Entrepreneurship Development, where I headed the Entrepreneurship Center at Kaduna State University some time now. And the truth is that we have to commend what the National Director of Employment is doing across the various states and local governments in Nigeria with their zonal offices and all that. If you look through some of the activities, you see that they are quite doing a lot. In fact, they have about 30 programs that are currently running across the country with capacity building for their staff and those they want to train. And also to thank the honorable member for what they're doing at the legislative arm of government and also the National Council for Women Development and all that. But the truth of the matter is that I think the focus is job creation. And it goes beyond trying to empower people, giving them money, giving them starter pack and all that. This synergy is quite lacking among government agencies. For instance, you have the SMEDEN, the Small and Medium Scale Enterprise Development Agency of Nigeria, doing similar thing, not exactly with NDE. You have also the National Productivity Center and also the Ministry of Labor and Productivity doing something like that. You have the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry, and you have the Central Bank, you have the Bank of Industry, you have the Development Bank of Nigeria, who just did something for women a few days ago in Abuja. And when you see all this going and look at the policy frame and focus of government in terms of job creation, for instance, we've mentioned that the government want to create about 100 jobs or bring people out of poverty within the next 10 years. And of course, that can only be done if we empower them, they get employment, they get jobs for themselves. And what we normally say in entrepreneurship is that, why do we want to empower people instead of developing them? So that at the end they can stand on their own. You remember we did the You Win program some years ago and gave people some handouts, some money. Quite a number of them are doing very well, but a number of them went under because some of them don't have the basic skill, the necessary aptitude to run a business. And I want us to note that sometimes there is a disconnection between what is happening globally and what we are currently doing locally in Nigeria. Where we may be thinking globally, we're acting locally. For instance, just a few weeks ago, months ago, the African Development Bank in Abuja came up with a very elaborate and rich document on creating decent jobs in Africa, targeting over 50 African countries. If you look at that document, you see how rich that document is, and they want to create about 15 jobs. They feel that Africa needs about 15 million jobs across Africa. And here is Nigeria, want to create 10 million jobs within the same 10-year period that African Development Bank is planning, pumping billions of dollars to achieve that. Not only that, the World Bank recently brought out a document on the future of work, how the youth, particularly the Nigerian youth, you can see that we have the potentials. I mean, one of the largest potentialities you can get anywhere in the world. The youth, of course, are our greatest asset that we need to empower. So, well, commending what the National Director of Employment is doing, but we have to know that with almost 35 years of their existence, you find out that we're still operating at, that level that is more at the rudimentary level, whereas the future of job is already going beyond the hands-on experience that we're giving to people across the country. If you go through what is going on in the world now, and for instance, with the African Development, the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, Nigeria needs to kill itself. And that is why the Ministry of Communication has to re-strategize by bringing digital into its framework so that people will key into the digital economy. Well, if you look at all that ND is doing, well, it is good, empowering, especially in the rural area, especially young graduates that are coming up and all that. But I think we need to empower them with digital skills that will make them to key into the future of work. The future of work as it is, and that's what India is doing, is not going to be crude, rudimentary, and then just mere hands-on. It's a serious brain work that NDE can capitalize on the large youth pool that we have and begin to look at the inner workings, the architecture within its operations, so that they will now begin to develop in conjunction with Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy to see how this youth can be empowered in the now digital age that we're going. For instance, if we go into the 5G economy that is already started in some countries, from this year and next year, you find that that 5G will now put speed into all the activities of human beings all over the world. And if we don't key in now, we don't begin to plan for the future of work, Nigeria will be left behind. Today, India provides a large pool of capacity when it comes to ICT, digital platform, and the rest of them. And so I think the India has done a lot in terms of creating jobs, in terms of empowering people. For instance, within a short period of time, they've done over 1 million. Now, whether that million is good enough, I want to say that the other angle that NDA could look at is the area in terms of skill transfer. If 1 million people can be empowered, and each of those 1 million people can empower another 1 million, you will discover that within the last 3 years that they'll be operating, if we do what they call in construction industry, build, operate, and transfer, you will see that by now, would have replicated such skill in several other people. The kind of money or the kind of funding they are providing for such people, one would have suggested that such money should be given to people who are already operating businesses, so that they will be trained within those businesses, and those businesses will provide capacity for them. Because if we don't do this apprentice system they do in Igbo land, from one person to the other, replicating this kind of jobs on one person, then transferring it to the other person, you will see that we'll be doing ourselves disservice, because you empower the person, he just go away with it. Government has invested in him, and well, there are so many million others waiting to be employed. And I think the ND programs can look critically at that. Then the next one is, of course, we just finished the Women's International Day all over. There is the issue of the missing woman in terms of what we are doing, because if you discover the women folks are more vulnerable. If the NDA partner with the National Council for Women Development and see how that missing woman or missing women can be integrated and bring that inclusive strategy to see so that a number of them will be taken out of poverty, a number of them will be taken out of lack and out of joblessness. So you will see that, I see that they are trying to do that with power and other forms of women, and I saw that the last work they did with, is it Police Officers, Women, Wife Association, and the rest of them, I look at it, I saw that that was very good and all that. But there's still much to be done. We are not trying to say that they are not doing much, but I believe that they could re-strategize. They could go back to the drawing board and re-strategize their focus, so that in the next chapter, the short period of time, they'll be able to impact more people than hitherto. And I want to believe that if they change strategy a bit to key into the digital economy, more youth will be empowered, and they will be earning, foreign currency even without living anywhere, living where they are abiding or where they are staying or where they are living. So I want to suggest that the National Directorate of Employment and the National Council of Women Development should look critically on the digital aspect of job creation that the world is heading to. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Quite incisive there, and I believe the DG was nodding over here. Now, you can be part of the conversation tonight. Our Twitter handle is open at Tuesday Live NTA, and also at some point, the phone lines will be displayed on the screen. And please, when you put in your call, turn down the volume of your television set to avoid the holdback. We'll take some reports now to sustain the conversation. Our first port of call is Calabar, Cross River State.
Job creation and youth empowerment are some of the priority areas of the federal government's next level agenda. Agencies such as Industrial Training Fund under the National Industrial Skills Development Program has trained and is still training youths in Cross River State. The youths have been trained in welding and fabrication, catering and event management, tiling production and furnishing for exterior and interior decorations, furniture making and auto gele, as well as cosmetics production. The trainees are not left alone. They have startup packs to achieve self-reliance, but some challenges confront them.
The capacity of ITF cannot really do too much, but with collaboration from the states, you understand me, and other politicians who can buy more startup packs, we can do more. So that is number one way we can empower youths.
My encouragement is that Cross-River State and the government should come in, like an sort of an emergency situation to arrest this. We are not unfortunate on the issues of drug-related matters, but youth. If you look around, you see a lot of them. They are youth. There's hope, and then I think the country will do better.
Experts say collaboration among agencies of government, non-governmental organizations, corporate organizations, as well as well-meaning Nigerians could open up avenues for job creation to Nigerian youths.
Next port of call after Calabar, let's go to Sokoto for an update.
The skills acquisition programs of the National Directorate of Employment is assisting towards repositioning the youth to be self-dependent. It is already putting smiles on the faces of young entrepreneurs in Sokoto State.
We learned about how to sew, how to knit, everything. We are training how to do businesses or anything. You can take care of yourself.
3 months is usually enough for them to be trained. Yes, the basic rudiments of fashion design and knitting.
The trainings are continuous effort by the federal government to curb the growing rate of unemployment in the state. Trainees are given opportunity to choose a trade to be trained. A few weeks ago, another set of 230 women graduated and were empowered with working tools and cash to enhance their micro-entrepreneurship.
For the vocational skills, generally youths of secondary school background and of recent we have graduates that want to learn these skills and we allow them to learn. But for our for SSE, small scale enterprises, there too, there's a balance. There are programs for graduates and there are programs we call BBT, Basic Business Training, also for running businesses, which is done for artisans and those that are not having the graduate qualification.
Sokoto State Government Job Creation Programs under Ministry for Social Welfare and Zakat Commission are other avenues to reduce unemployment among youth.
That's that. We should get to other centers in the course of the program. Well, we'll take some tweets at some point, and also the phone lines are now open. But back in Abuja, DG, from Lagos, Professor Akutson's raised a lot of issues and is tailored and in line with some of the things you're doing. But from his perspective, it looks as he's saying you need to rejig, because the tall order by the present administration says 100 million jobs in 10 years. He's looking at how do we get there, even ahead of 10 years. Now, skills transfer, thinking globally and acting locally, future of work, not the crude type, but looking at this perspective, where are we heading?
Well, first and foremost, let me thank Prof for his vision and for his advice and for his focus as far as job creation is concerned. You see, what I said initially, I just pick one out of the 4 departments we have in NDE, and that is vocational skill development. Under that mega basic national open apprentice scheme, where we engage a lot of young men and women at the national level. We also have mega ANOS from B to A. That is to do with the training. As I've said before, out of the first number we took, 70% we took women because we believe women are more vulnerable. And we trained them on what we call cosmetology. It involves how to make liquid soap, solid soap, Izal, detergent, car wash, shampoo, and the rest of them. It is shorter in terms of training because it's addition of 1, 2, 3 chemicals to come up with a product. And a lot of them were engaged. And if you have people that are producing, the more they produce, there will be more in the market. And by the time the market becomes saturated, they'll be discouraged. And that's the reason why we took it open ourselves. Whatever they produce, we buy directly from them, sell to NEMA, National Commission for the Refugee, so that they can give it out. By so doing, we are encouraging them to produce more. We even went to export promotion. I talked to my good friend Shogun Awolowo, and he told us to engage a very good consultant who is good at packaging, because we are even thinking of exporting these items to West African sub-region, and that is A knowers, B knowers under vocational skill development. When we take the other department, special public works, I tell you, my brother, you can bear me witness, from Yanyan to Asokoro Junction to Aso Drive Junction, Wuse Market Junction, even this junction at area 11 up to Gwagwa, you see a lot of young men with their working tools. I took it open myself to get across to most of the multinationals like Gilmo, RCC, Dori and Dori, Julius Berger, Mothercard, because we have a lot of big projects taking place within and outside Abuja. I went to them, I told them, I said, look, this is my job, and this is what I'm supposed to do, the mandate given to me by the government. We have a lot of young men with their working tools without anything to do. I can guarantee them, so that you can have them engaged. As I'm talking to you, we encourage them to form small cooperative societies within where they normally stand, and most of them are engaged. Some of them have even moved from casual to permanent staffs. That is under special public works. Apart from other training we do in special public works, like environmental beautification, renewable energy, and the rest of them.
Before we conclude, our first caller is on already. Peter. Peter is calling in from Lagos. Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter. Okay, it looks we lost that call. You can conclude before take one or two tweets.
Then the third department is SSC, Small Scale Enterprise. This is the department that we normally use in terms of giving soft loans to people so that they can start their own business. As I'm talking to you, we have a program called 50 under 35. We are trying to create 50 young entrepreneurs that are not more than 35 years, some with existing businesses, some with credible ideas, so that we can make it 50 of them in each of the 109 senatorial zone, so that we can make it easy for them to access loan, so that they can add up to their businesses, so that they can be employees of labor.
Okay, let's hear from Peter. Peter is back online. Hello, Peter. Hello, Peter, you're on to Tuesday Live.
Hello.
Good evening. Go ahead, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Go ahead, we can hear you. Good evening.
This is Peter from Lagos.
Go ahead.
Hello, I can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah. This is Peter from Lagos.
Go ahead.
Although I'm very, very happy with this topic that you introduced. Now, the problem we are having, we don't have sustainable development plan. Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. We don't have a sustainable development plan as regards to the youth development. Mr. The chairman for the youth development, all of them, they benefited, direct benefit from government. Somebody planned their time. But now, nobody ready to plan the future of present youth. All what we have in Nigeria planning is and paper documentation. And when it comes to the issue of reality, it is zero. They use everything for themselves. They don't care to monitor all those money spent by government from 1 naira to 2 naira, from 2 naira to 3 naira. They just document everything on paper. Like now, if you go to Aba, if you from one shop to Aba, from one shop to the other, even some warehouses, they are producing there, day in, day out, night and day, and they are using youths to do that. and all their products, they are labeling it foreign label, not Nigerian label. All these things is frustrating our system. And more so, regards to what the professor just said, it's true and fact. We should not be depending or training or say we are empowering without development. What we need is a real development from the real economy system. Now, everybody know how to make soap, everybody know how to make one or two things, but when they sustain, all these things is rubbish. We are wasting our time, we are wasting our effort. Instead, the professor said something about the technology, he said something about the global the computer economy. Nothing has been done up to now. We have a lot of youth there. They call them what they call it, the Yahoo boys. All those boys being paraded by police. Get them, assemble them one way, one place, train them on that area. They'll be useful for the system. That's one. And then another way, the NYC, what your commissioner has been doing to engage the graduates. Not issue of giving money, but how many people have you discovered from the from NYC? You just use them after 1 year, you throw them back to the economy. Useless. Do nothing. At the end of the day, they will not find themselves on how to feed their mouth alone. Sir, this thing cannot go. Instead of training to do to do this, to do that, cannot help. Let's look for the way of better development. Let these people develop so that when they rise up, they will carry people along. It's a change. When they say, okay, I should only feed myself, you empower me to feed myself. How am I going to feed others? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. That was Peter. He called in from Lagos. I think you want to react to some of this concerns, but before you react, let me quickly send this to you so that you can react alongside. Nathan Rezama says, we don't have centers in some states. I mean, well-equipped centers for youth to get empowered. The other one says, Adeni Hunhei said, why it's difficult for government to make announcements of any vacancies in any government job opportunities.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, let me start with Peter.
Altogether, yes.
Mr. Peter, thank you very much. You raised an issue that is very, very important. But to be frank with you, it's always good to say it the way it is. You see, under the same Special Public Works, we had a program called GAP, Graduate Attachment Program, whereby we attach most of these graduates to a more sophisticated, because the pride is there. Somebody that graduated from a university, college education, or polytechnic, by the time you said you are attaching him to a master crafter, because of the pride, you feel that, look, I'm a graduate, how can I go and work under a local artisan? And that's the reason why we come up with that graduate attachment program. We send them to a more sophisticated places so that they can learn. We even have a program called Graduate Coaching Scheme. Some of the graduates living within their localities that don't have anything doing, we mop out some young men and women that are deficient in NECO, WAEC, GC, SSC, even JAM. And we ask them, train these your brothers and sisters, and at the end of every month, we pay them so that they can make up for their NECO. And Peter, you made mention about NYSC. I tell you one thing. There are people that are unemployed, but they are not available to work. There are some that are available but are not ready to work. And there are some that are not ready to work. So it is not as easy as you think. You can bear me witness, we tried as much as we can to make sure that most of them, and I think we even advised the government. I was in some of the University of Technologies. One of them is Aleru, University of Technology in Aleru, Kebbi State. What I saw there in terms of facilities, state-of-the-art facilities, is shocking. I think it is good for the government to look into the issue of awarding degrees not just based on character and learning, but there should be, it must be a must for anybody must learn a trade as part of the requirements before he get a degree. And I think by the time they learn this thing right from the university, they'll be more serious in terms of using their brain and their hands to earn a living.
Okay, let's take another caller. Issa is calling me from Jos. Hello, Issa. Hello? Issa,
hello,
hear me, you're
well done. Thank you for the opportunity to hear my opinion.
Thank you. Go ahead,
This
please.
is Isa Hassan Muhammad calling directly from Jos. And I'm very much happy to inform you today that you are representing me. I was born and grown up in Jos, and my question goes directly to you, sir. In the content of your brilliant analysis, and because I've taken my useful time and listened to your contribution attentively, you said that during your old days that they used to pay you or give you a kind of support if you are going to school, and now this thing is no longer in place. So I want to ask you, Mr. Honorable Sir, where do we get it wrong? Is it in terms of the leadership, or because of the political system on ground, or is it because of the economy that is not really helping matter, or because of this attitudinal change on ground? So thank you. As it has been in my usual character, custom and costume, I'll continue to praise you for giving me the opportunity to hear my opinion. This is Isa Father calling directly from Jos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think you concluded.
And somebody made mention about the various skill centers in some states. I tell you one thing. Apart from the ones that are built directly by NDE in terms of skill development centers, we have a lot that was given to us by the MDG, now SDGs. And members of the National Assembly, most of them have built various skill centers. Recently, in addition to the 125 we have, Senator Kabiru Gaya from Kano just handed over 16 skill centers to us. So virtually in all the states, members of the National Assembly from their constituency project, most of them are building skill centers and hand over to us. Some well equipped, some we are the one to equip them. So honestly, I don't believe there is any state where we don't have one or more skill development centers.
Okay. Let me take this caller, then allow Honorable to respond before I go to the DG, National Center for Women Development. Hello, Abubakar. Abubakar is calling in from Mina, Niger State. Hello, Abubakar.
Yes. From Bida, Abubakar calling from Bida.
Okay, from Bida, you're welcome. Hello, you're onto the program.
Yes, sir. I want to appreciate the panelists and particularly the ND director. But by what I'm trying to find out is there seems to be a kind of disconnect from what the prof is saying and with the ND. The issue of digital economy. I think the DG has gotten it right already, because that should be the first step before we think of going the digital economy, because that is the area of maybe kind of marketing or putting whatever one is producing through online system on which to attract foreigners. So I don't know if the prof will give detail of what he means by digital economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abubakar. Now, maybe you respond quickly before I go to DG.
Well, quickly, the person that have just called from Jos have really said it. What went wrong? So many things went wrong. But first and foremost, we have to appreciate the gift of nature. Part of it is population explosion. There are so many people to be catered for, and the economy is becoming leaner. The economy is growing as an arithmetic progression, population is growing at geometric progression. So at a certain point you discover that what 1 naira can buy 2 days ago, today that quantity will be reduced, maintaining the same 1 naira. You either double the 2 naira, or if you are getting 10 pieces, you end up getting only 1 piece for that same value for money. So that is one. Secondly, the leaders we have in place. During our times, most of our leaders are saying Nigerian problem is not money, but how to spend the money. I remember. That's the oil book. And we got carried away with that mentality while we were growing too. Then for us to wake up from this slumber, probably we were cut off to realize that, look, we have to give back to society. So my brother, these are some of the psyche that personally, anytime I have, I got this kind of opportunity, I now always put this further. Ask yourself, what have I done? Quickly, let me even see if the NDE can now make it part of their curriculum that, look, when we train you, we skill you, we give you the ability to create job. We enable you. The same thing with the National Center for Women Development. Now, we will now tax you after 1 year or so. We want you to produce 3 of your equals. Train them. Let that be mandatory. When we are giving you your certificate is incomplete until after 1 year. You have now brought 3 certified people that have learned that you are skilled and they can create wealth. So with so doing, we'll have a multiplier effect. And personally, we are talking about government. Even this government is all federal government. Sumedan, everything is federal government. Come to the state government. They are too doing their own. So by the time you aggregate, go down to the local government. For the local government, that is entirely a different thing. Probably in the National Assembly, we will now target giving the local government autonomy, both financial and administrative. Probably we could get the grassroots operating a government just like at the state level and at the federal level. But that is an issue that we will look into. Okay. Now, but I'm calling on the electorate. What are we going to do to complement what government at each level are doing? Okay. That is my major concern.
When we return after the break, we'll continue the conversation with the DG, National Center for Women Development, then go to Lagos. But quickly, you can be part of the conversation tonight. Our Twitter handle is open at Tuesday Live NTA, and our phone lines are displayed on the screen. Our discussion tonight is on the National Director of Employment and Job Creation in Nigeria. Don't go away.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online, or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich. Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Thanks for staying tuned, and the focus once again is the National Director of Employment and Job Creation in Nigeria. You can still be part of the conversation. Our phone lines are open, phones are displayed, phone number is displayed on the screen, and the Twitter handle is @TuesdayLiveNTA. Before we went on break, the professor from Lagos Nato Center was very passionate about women, and he raised the issue of women when he talked about the definition of future work. Now, from the National Center for Women Development, you're doing a lot, and I got to know that somewhere you deviated into what people call an area that was a niche for just the male folk in the world, bricks making, and what took you there? And what are you doing towards building more to take us toward the destination of 100 million jobs in Nigeria?
Well, we are doing a lot. What took us there? First of all, we recognize the fact that there is need for diversification. We cannot continue on the usual vocational skill of everyday cream, soap making, sewing, and all those things. So we needed an area, a novel area for the women to get into it. And if you look at it critically these days, hair making, dress making, and other things are no longer done by women alone. So there was need for us to move further from the traditional trade to ensure that women benefit also in the construction industry. And most especially, if you go down in the north, you have issue of bashiga in some compounds, and being women, we consider the issue of rape and sexual harassment of children. If you are not at home, you have a female plumber or a female tiler or any of the female artisan. I think you'll be at home. It will give you some bit of confidence that a woman is in your house, and you're guaranteed that your children will not be sexually abused. It will give you confidence to leave your home properly before going out. That is one of the reasons that took us into that. And again, financial benefits. Since the men are now taken from our own industry, we need to move further to ensure that we fit into the construction industry. And I can tell you the women are doing very well. After their training from 2017, when I came on board, April, just like doctor, in artisanship, we've trained over about 8,000. They're a bit expensive to train, so with the resources we get in collaboration with other agencies, we just graduated about 106 last Friday in collaboration with the German, government, and it was a very successful training, 40 days. We do trade test 1, trade test 2, and trade test 3. Usually it's in the reverse is the case. First of all, the trade test 1, we take in people from trade test 1, and our certificate again are accredited by MBT, National Board for Technical Education, meaning that if you graduate from our skill, you can work anywhere in the country, not just self-reliance. If you cannot get a job, you could now continue on your own, business. And a trade test 3, Trusted One guarantee you to have a level 7. It is in collaboration with the Ministry of Labor and Productivity. They offer, they give, we train, and they give them the Trusted, where we give them certificate of participation from our own site.
That leads me to the question I want to ask you now. Now, it is said if you spank a child, you should tell that child why you did that, so that child, so he or she will understand why that action was meted on at that particular time. Now, do they really understand why you go into all these programs?
Yes, they
because
do.
You give somebody a certificate of maybe participation or graduation, he walks away and keeps it away. So
No.
they don't understand why you're going into this.
They understand. That is why they trace test in 3 grades. You come from trace test 3, which is the lower one. We train you for the first 30 days. We give you the tools and some money to start, minimum of 100,000. You go back home, we monitor you for another 6 months to see that you are practicing that trade. Usually we can train like 500, and we monitor them within a space of 6 months. And after 6 months, we will be able to know from our monitoring team those who are actually practicing. Then we bring them back for trade tests 1 and 2.
Okay. Let's take this caller from Jos, Froyland, please. Hello, Bob. Hello, Bob.
Yeah, good evening, my brother. How are you?
Good evening, Bob. Fine, thank you.
Good evening.
We can hear
Yeah, good evening.
Go ahead.
Good evening to your guest over there.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, this is very interesting conversation, and unemployment has been a very serious issue in this country. Yeah, it has been a very serious problem in this country. And my advice is that if we can go back to olden days where things works, because if you remember between 70s and 80s, you will discover that there is job was available. Even primary school, secondary school students that time, when they have long vacation, they go to all these factories for engagement, for part-time job. Those days. So what am I trying to say? There is no country, there is no state you go to in this country that you don't see dead factories. You understand me? There is no state you go to in this country that you don't see dead factories. If government can revive these factories, you understand me? If government can revive these factories, talking of no unemployment will be things of the past. Because those days I'm talking about, we don't see unemployment issue. It's only the lazy one who will not go to factories and go and work. That is where you discover that there's somebody who is lazy that cannot go and work. But when you finish school, even at that time, a graduate will have a job waiting for him in some of these factories that I'm talking about. And that time, they will give him panel van and Volkswagen. You understand me? And that time, we don't even know what is called Belgium. You understand me? What I'm trying to say now, if government can try, revive all these companies that are dead, they may not do it at once, but let them select some of these states that they are not all that strong. Revive those factories, like just that I'm speaking from now. You understand me? We have factories that are dead, that they can revive those factories. And when they are working, you see that people will get something doing. People will get something doing because these things that you are giving somebody, you are training him, you are giving him starter pack, it cannot help. Let them revive these factories. There's no state you go to in this country that you don't see dead factories. They should revive those factories. And when they revive those factories, you will discover that unemployment will be a thing of the past. That's my prayer to them.
Okay.
They should do it fast.
Thank you, Bob. Bob called in from Jos. Digi, let me hold you and go straight to Lagos because of some of the issues. But before I go to Lagos, maybe you need to conclude.
Okay.
Before you forget your issues.
Yes, so we monitor, there's a monitoring team that follows them. And you asked a question earlier on that, why did we venture into that? That is as a result of our research on sexual harassment. Basically at home, most times, this artisan comes to the house and take advantage of the little girl because the parents are back to work. And we have trained over 1,000 and they are doing very well. Unlike what the last caller just said, I don't think it is true. Among these people we train, some of them are doing this dress I'm wearing or I'm putting on is from one of our trainees. The best car washing in this town is made by our trainees, you understand? So a lot of them, it's not everybody, we have a quite number of them doing very well, putting those straight into practice. In short, for the whole of this week, I'll be wearing my students' clothes.
Probably they insist that because you're the DJ, they made it free for you, or you paid for them.
Yes, that is the teacher's reward. That is the lecture. So I don't believe that when you train, yes, if you train 1,000 or 1 million, you have a certain number. Everybody might not, but you have a substantial numbers. And this today, everybody is aware that even workers come in for training. The need for alternative source of income. As a government worker, how much is your salary? With the price, increase on a lot of things, you still need an alternative source of income. I do not believe that all the training, all the effort of the government is useless. It's not true. It's yielding.
Just a quick word to add to what the DJ just told.
We're about to go to Lagos. We have kept the Lagos. Okay, let me just go. We'll come back. Now, to Lagos, Prof. You set the tone and we reacted to them. Now, looking at the value chains and the last caller from Jos, he talked talked about the litany of ailing industries. If the value chains work seamless together, synergize to work together, and the ailing industries are revived almost at the same time, what would be the look of things?
Thank you very much for having me. Let me try to still remind our callers that the topic of discourse is NDE and job creation. There are certain things that are not within the purview of NDE, that we don't expect NDE to create all these 100 million jobs of government, because the NDE have been doing tremendous work. They have played their part. They've done a lot of work. They've reached out to so many people, over 1 million people empowered and developed. It's not a mean task. But the truth of the matter is that we need enablers. For us to create these 100 jobs, the enabling environment must be right. For instance, in Kaduna, where I reside, and where I work, and where I do a lot of things, when I was growing up, we used to have what we call, there are two places to work, Masaka and Chioda. Chioda is now what they call the KRPC, Kaduna Refinery and Petrochemical Company, and or NMPC. Then you have the textile industry. What we call the CTG, cotton, textile, and garment, that used to be the major state, the major economic booster of the central northern states, you'll find out that it's no longer there. We should not always blame government for everything. Government have done everything, to which I'm very much aware of, to see that they revive the textile industry, particularly those ones in Kaduna, pumping some money, trying to empower, to see how those sectors will be revived. But sincerely, I tell you here, sometimes government efforts have been sabotaged, a sort of. But having said that, government is still government. Government have the responsibility to assist or to help to ensure that saboteurs are squarely dealt with. And we have the Economic and Financial Crime Commission to look at that angle. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to create jobs, the enabling environment must be right. One, those ailing industry is not only in Kaduna. You find out that there are so many industries that are more about, apart from the ones that are being run as textile, agric, facilities, that some of them abandoned totally, that used to mill rice and other grains. Then you have the private sector. We used to have industries that manufacture tires, produce a lot of goods. If you go to industrial layouts in some of these major cities, you will notice that nothing is going on. And the mistake we are going to make is to think government as they're going to run those businesses. Government have tried privatization, particularly in the power sector, and we've not been getting the desired result. In spite of privatizing the power sector, government is still subsidizing the sector heavily. And then look at the petroleum sector as well. Government is still subsidizing it. I don't know where we're going, and sometimes we push everything to government. But trying to address the caller, Peter from Jos or whoever, you see that when we sit down, we begin to think government will do everything. Looking at the dwindling economy now and the drastic fall rather, in the oil revenue of government, the revenue is no longer there to attend to those things. The private sector need to take the initiative. They need to see opportunities where government is failing and take off, and then key into the privatization program of government, and sometimes commercialization, and key into it. And then having said that, I'm back to ND. I want to draw the attention of ND to note that some of these handout that they're giving may not be sustainable, because the way the economy is going, the way we are facing the global challenge, they have to devise further strategy. Where you give people money, where you give people loan, you are not a bank. And if those loans are to be given, you have to liaise with banks so that it will be sustainable. Even if they are not going to pay interest, they have to show that there is a way there must be payback so that it will be a kind of revolving money that NDA can use in the future. If we continue this way, for the past 3 years we have been there, if we look at the next 3 years, you'll find that there will not be money to dish out, and there may not be money to buy starter packs for people. So we have to devise a means to see how do we make this sustainable. And that's why I said we should key into global trend. We should key into global work that have been done. For instance, so in terms of sustainability, the Sustainable Development Goals has already been created. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to find out, how do I make this sustainable? How do I partner with development banks, Bank of Industry, Development Bank in Nigeria, Infrastructure Bank, and the rest of them? How do I go into partnership with them to see that I sustain this in the long time, so that the next 10-year period of job creation of government, NDE is playing a key role, because that is their mandate, to create these jobs. Now that the government wants to create 100 million jobs, how is NDE going to key into this framework? What are their plans? What are the policy framework that they are putting in place to see that they have a chunk of this 100 million? It means virtually creating about 1 million jobs every month. How are we going to do it? What are the plans in place for NDE to see that a chunk of this 1 million job per month, maybe NDE has 10%, 20%, 30%, and the rest percentage will be shifted to other agencies of government that are also saddled with job creation, like the Central Bank and the rest of them, and the Ministry of Finance that provide the fiscal policy framework, Central Bank providing the monetary policy framework. So you will see that even the work of NDE will be eased out, so that the burden on them now, from what we have seen, from what our DG is now telling us, it shows that there is enormous work to be done. And I can assure you that the funds will not be there to achieve all those programs that they are running, using their own funding, using their budget and all that. And I think that what the NDE should be looking at is to see how to save this fund, and to see how to make sure that these funds are revolved, they come back to them so that they can continue to utilize it to empower other people. So this is what I think on the angle of NDE that they can do to ensure that there is sustainability for the long term, for the long run, so that in the next 10 years, nobody will be thinking of scrapping NDE because they are not achieving their goal, because the money they are giving them is already getting finished and all that. Unless, of course, if they have a bottomless fund somewhere that they will be using to achieve some of these goals. I want to commend them really, but I want to say that they should look inward and re-strategize and ensure that this funding does not just finish on time, that they have something to run for the next 10 years that we want to create 100 million jobs. The challenge is enormous. I'm still wondering, I'm still thinking as an economist and somebody involved in entrepreneurship, how this government will want to create 1 million jobs every month. What are the strategies in place? What are the framework in place? What is NDE going to do? How are they going to key into digital economy? So what they do is that there is a way you can get people, get them in power. Link up with the training institution, like the university. For instance, if you look at the National Council of Women's Society, what they are doing, they are linking up with National Board for Technical Education that provides the skill acquisition framework certification for people. So sometimes this certification, there are people that you may train. They may afterward find out that they don't have the capacity to stand alone, although initially they came for the training so that they can stand alone and start their business. But after receiving the training with the certification, they find out that, look, it's not easy to run business alone. It takes further capacity. So they may want to look for jobs to be able to sustain themselves. That certification framework that is globally or nationally recognized, they can make use of it and find jobs, and then after they got stabilized, they can now go and start doing their own work. So these are kind of strategy framework that I believe we should put in place. We've talked a lot about government enabling environment, ease of doing business, and all that and all that. I think the government is overwhelmed with some of these challenges. So we should find a way where we key in what we call in academic cycle the triple helix: the government, the private sector, and the academia, so that we'll find solutions.
Thank you from that perspective. Well, Prof has ruled out a lot of things, and before we go to the conversation in Abuja, we'll take some reports from Kano and Jos. Before then, let's take this caller from Benin Kebbi. Uma. Hello, Uma. Hello, Uma. Uma, are you still there?
I'm Umar Anase.
Go ahead.
Calling from Benin Kebbi. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
I'm Umar Anate calling from Building KB.
Go ahead.
Yes. My own problem is with Nigerian education. We have a lot of professors that cannot profess. A lot of engineers that is not able to fix even a bulb in his house. We so much rely on certificate rather than certificate. This is a problem. Look at the Western world. The person that invented new invention of Microsoft Word, for example, is a secondary school, university dropout. He's not undergo this Western education training. Another person that invented that of Apple, he did not undergo the same university education. So the education itself is not within the four corner of the classroom. That is what I want you to understand. So much rely on certificate bring about the problems we are having in Nigeria now. Anytime they will rely on certificate, the certificate that cannot be dependable. May God continue to bless our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Umar. Well, we are almost coasting home, but before then, let's take this report from Kano.
The training was designed to stimulate business initiatives of the target beneficiaries to enable them identify opportunities leading to creation of wealth and enhance their socio-economic status. The trainees were selected from across the 44 local government areas of Kano State. This reflects the federal government's commitment to spread the program to rural areas to ensure beneficiaries are evenly selected. Aisha Adamu Mustafa is among the 888 women trained on making laundry soap, pomade, air freshener, and shampoo, among others. Another 1,320 male trainees were assigned to master trainers in the areas of automobile engineering, tailoring, barbing, and cosmetics making.
Under the cosmetology training, after training, we not only train you, we show you equally how to package your product such that you can compete in supermarkets with others. We do what I call quality training and quality packaging.
For the likes of Aisha Adamu Mustafa, it will never be the same after the training, as she intends to establish her own business to become self-reliant.
I learned a lot of things like shampoo, hair cream, Vaseline, soap, and so on. There are plenty. The soap we made here, I tried it myself, and the soap was qualitative one. When I bath, I feel like my skin is not mine.
It is believed that training such as this will go a long way in creating wealth for Aisha and her likes and improve the overall development of the country.
Our next stop is Jos. Okay, Jos is not ready. Let's take a voice poll by Nigerian, still on the conversation.
This initiative is good, both for the government and the people at large, in the sense that you get to be self-reliant to yourself, you help yourself, and you do things that you want to do. You understand? Like no need of doing bad things, corrupt things to get money. Now the government, they train you, they give you things that you can use to empower yourself. So I think it's a step forward, Nigerian government and for the people also.
With the introduction of this initiative by the government, it will help a lot of youth to be self-reliant. It will contribute to economic development, most especially in the area of providing jobs for the youth. Because every year you see core members coming in, the government offices are filled up. You understand? So everybody the youth now need to be self-reliant.
It's a very good initiative by the government, and it's going to help our women to be empowered, and small-scale businesses and entrepreneurs are going to have opportunities to be able to set up their own businesses, and they can earn their own living themselves. So I think it's a very good step the government is making.
This initiative will actually contribute to the Nigeria economic development. It will also ensure that people are self self-reliant instead of depending on the government.
So many youth were trained, and right now, as I'm telling you, they own their businesses right now. So it has really gone a long way to reduce the rate of poverty in the country. So if this initiative is set up, not just if NGOs can come together to also work with the government to set up this and to take it upon themselves, I think it's going to go a long way to stimulate economic growth, and also everybody, Nigeria will be a happy place to live, and the youth as well.
Those were Nigerians sharing a lot of thoughts on the discussion tonight. Well, we have heard all that, but the focus basically is job creation, as much as our peg is NDE and job creation in Nigeria. I know the government has targeted 100 million jobs within 10 years, mostly within the next level agenda. Now, coasting home, let's look at it. Issues have been raised. Would you say you're overwhelmed, or you're heading somewhere you have been propelled even to do more?
Yes, thank you very much. And let me thank Prof once more for advising us more on what to do. But I tell you, my brother, as far as I'm concerned, taking 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years is achievable. In NDA alone, if you look at what we're doing, apart from the YESO, Youth Employment Social Support Operation, we are running that in both Skill for Job and factor specific. When I came in, only 8 states were involved, but now we have about 19 states. The key in is a World Bank project, being handled by NDE and Ministry of Finance. If we take that aside, what we are doing in 2019 to date, we decided to hit the local government. The first one we did 2017-2018, we concentrate more at the national level and at the state level. Now we are hitting the local government level. We are creating 50 jobs in each of these 774 local government. 20 out of these 50 we give out to women as far as cosmetology is concerned. The remaining 30, I'm thinking of, we have started training 5 carpenters, 5 GSM repairs, 5 auto electrician, 5 auto mechanics, and 5 POP interlocks or block molding. And I believe if I can create this number of trained young men in these various fields in various local governments, we have done a lot. There is a program under Rural Employment Promotion as a department. Apart from training these young men and women in what you call Sustainable Agricultural Training Scheme, we also have what we call MIS, Micro Enterprises Enhancement Scheme. I believe if we can take care of poverty, unemployment at the periphery, at the rural areas, it is very easy for us to control the center. And that's the reason why we concentrate more. We advise them to form small cooperative societies within their midst. Some of our mothers that are involved in petty trading, like selling Accra, Kununza, Sobo, and the rest of them, even kola nuts, you realize that their capital is not more than 2,000 to 3,000 naira. We are coming in to give them interest-free loan of 10,000 naira each. And the way we do it, if we give, let's say, 100 people in a village, we'll mop out 20 attached to them. We give them a stabilizing period of 2 months before they start paying. And the payment rate is just 233 naira. We attach these 20 that we mop out to this 100. It is only when they pay, then they will benefit. We don't need to send any of our loans recovery unit because they will pursue them to make sure they pay. And whatever they pay, we don't take the money back. It is a revolving kind of. So we can start with maybe 100 people in a village before we realize it will multiply because of the multiplier effect to 150 up to 200. As I'm talking to you, there is no state the list we have given in each and every state, as far as maize is concerned, is about 2,500 beneficiaries. In some states like the northeast, like in Borno and the rest of them, recently we came back, we gave our targets about 10,000 people to benefit in Borno state, so that a lot of people can be engaged, so that they can benefit from this. And we realize that in areas of agriculture and ICT, these are areas whereby you can create millions of jobs because of the value chain. We have collaboration with government of Algeria. There is this scientific center for Irish studies in Askia, Algiers. They are giving us 1 million seedlings of dates, genetically modified. Unlike the one that we know, this one can start producing within 9 months. The only condition, each seedling must have at least 10.5 liters of water on a daily basis. By so doing, if we decided to give young men and women 200 seedlings, we are creating 5,000 jobs from there, and by the time they start producing a lot of money. That is from Algeria. We are into collaboration with the Indian government as far as ICT is concerned. There is German NGO, GIZ. We are into collaboration with them. The government of Belarus, the Minister of Higher Education in Belarus came to our office. We sat, we discussed. We have collaboration in areas of agriculture, auto electrician, auto mechanics, and other areas. And that is area of agriculture. Our target mainly is economic trees. And I tell you one thing, recent studies that we did, we realized that in southwestern part of this country, it involved just 100,000 for a young man or a young woman to hire 1 hectare of land, from money for the hiring, clearing, cultivation, planting up to cultivation. As far as maize production is concerned, 100,000, and the profit margin is about 80 to 120,000. And that's the reason why we engage a lot of them. We give them money to do this, and they are paid. Some of them have even moved from 1 hectare initially. There is somebody that is now cultivating 5 hectares. That is in that area. Then if we look at ICT, we are into collaboration with OneDial.net, MTN, Yellow Clinic, InterSwitch. This is to do with mobile money transfer to the rural areas. So even in the areas of ICT, we are doing a lot. The same thing in the areas of agriculture because of the value chain. And that's the reason why I told you, issue of taking 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in the next 10 years is achievable.
Okay. Now, DG, before I come to Honorable, because I want to give a political angle to it. Now, hearing from the DG is giving us a holistic picture, cutting across 774 local government areas, there are 6 states and the center. Are we saying that the National Center for Women Development only concentrates at the center? What are you doing at the flanks?
No, the National Center for Women Development, even before they came, NDE was enacted into law, over 25, we have 774 Women Development Center in every local government.
Still functional?
Still functional, though few, some of them are, but we just need some resources, and we've started reactivation of those centers. And in all those places, we train women in various skills. Just like he said, we do much in agriculture, but most basically we are into aquaculture. Then the value chain, we have, when we train you, we give you the basic thing, you start the farming. We have the collectors who dry and market the fish. And we have the snail farming. We train in the rural area women on how to grow snails and sell. And snail multiply a lot. It's a very high profit making business, and a lot of women really benefit and find it easy, and very easy. You could do it even in the comfort of your zone and you still make a lot of money. And also piggery for the southern part of the country is a very high money spinning business. You start with 10 pigs, by the end of the year it multiply up to 1,000, and it's a lot of income for the rural women, and they like it. We also mushroom farming. Like the mushroom farming, what we are trying to we are searching for some market abroad so that we could can them or package them very well and transport them. It's a high multiplying this thing. You don't need any artificial. All you need is waste. You use to waste and grow your mushroom and a lot of other things in all across the local government.
And when NGGs took off, the Deputy Secretary General of the UN said the SDGs have left the UN halls to the cities and shanties and rural areas. So are you saying now that these mushroom cultivators have also packaged and moved from rural areas to the cities?
Well,
to make money and employ people?
Yes, when they produce it, they move it. You need to look for market. Like I told you, we don't just do training. We have a research aspect of it and the ICT aspect of it. First of all, before we train our people, we take them into what we call, first of all, the self-esteem class. After the first esteem class, they go into the entrepreneur class. From entrepreneur, financial, credit and resources, finances and everything. How do you assess funds? Where do I get funds from? Apart from the stipend or the stake of ground the center is going to give to me, we now try to open doors by linking them up to intervention agency, who could give them some basic resources and and soft loan. So most times they produce this thing and transport it down to the city for marketing. So that talks about the value chain, and we are trying in our own way, like I told you, to see how we package them and export. Just like this is a Nigeria-made tie and dye. We have already gotten a market. It's just for, if not for the coronavirus, we should have been in the US by now doing one or two things, trying to see how to collaborate and market our things in the UN. We have a very free, this thing in the UN because of our collaboration. Our institution is modeled after the, like I told you, the United Nations International Research Training Institute for Advancement of Women. So we have that access to most of the international organizations that accept us. Then apart from, after teaching you all this process, we don't just allow you to take you into business, we go into ICT. ICT, women in farming, women entrepreneur. If you're farming, you need to know, you need to link up with other farmers, you need information. We help you to create a website that will help you market and communicate with other farmers in other parts of the world. And your climate change, what season, how do my crop do well if I plant this time, and a lot of things. And entrepreneur, ICT, you need information. You may have the resources, but how to start, you don't have an idea. It helps you plan and push you into the market. So our training is holistic. Like I told you, it's accredited by NBT, and they come every year to reassess and accredit the institution to ensure that they are working according to the syllabus built by them.
Okay. Honorable, the question I said I will ask
and
you
like
is...
you said, if we can meet, if NDE can meet the 50,000,000 jobs by the president, I think
100 million in 10 years.
In 10 years. Yeah, it's easy. In the ICT training alone, we have created so far, we've created over 3,000 jobs between 2017 to date.
Okay. Not just jobs, but sustainable jobs.
Yeah, sustainable job.
Okay. All right. Honorable, there are certain initiatives or ideas that if you attempt to give it a coloration, it fails. From the political class, most times government means well, but we attempt to give it government ideas, government initiatives, political coloration. How do I mean? If maybe Gombe State, where you come from, is an APC state or PDP state or ABGA or name it, any political party, whatever government is, they want to take it and give it the political coloration. And if we don't do this, we look at it from the governance perspective, we excel. Now 100 million jobs is for Nigerians, it's not for political parties. How do we go off here so we can achieve?
You see, You've really hit the nail on the head. We have to really wake up from the slumber and differentiate between governance and politicking. Our constitution, our laws in place have clearly defined that. But due to human nature, we tend to look down upon them. For instance, INEC now, when the presently now is no time for politics. Nobody is politicking. Generally, there could be some pocket, maybe delayed election or whatever, and it's time bound. Within that specific period, that's what we call politicking. Generally now, 2019 election has come and gone. We are now targeting general election 2023. What I mean by period of politicking. After the 2019 election and the government have been formed until maybe some few months to 2023 election, this period is termed as governance. And in governance, the process of just selecting leaders, you now elected your leaders. Now the leaders look upon those who voted them, those who did not vote them. They are all citizenry of the country. They are to cater for. Having said that, and I think National Orientation Agency and some other institutions that are saddled with this should do it, including media outfit like you, really to raise the consciousness of our populace. Having said that, government has been doing its effort, and to me, everybody now will all agree, both from our callers, contributors, and that government is really overwhelmed because of the population. I don't want to go by statistic, but you see the rate at which the unemployment is growing is about, I think, 11.6%, or even 6.11, that's the way. But when you now target the productive sector of the population, which are the youth, I think it could be placed as of 2019 or thereabout, before 2020, could be placed as 38%, which is so alarming. Now, what I'm saying, the government has come up with so many variables. I want the government, which we are working in the National Assembly, and I think we've started, even today, it is after 12 minutes. Okay, yesterday, we had a public hearing, and I can specifically mention Gurara Dam. We've encouraged the government to do what you call this private business practice. Ab initio, there was a contract, the government had put the dam, and everything is intact for generation of hydro, but there is no any off-taker. The original concept of the dam is to supply water to augment the Abuja water scheme. That was just the aim. But now we discovered that it could generate hydroelectricity. You could now generate some irrigation scheme along the line. And a concessionaire has been engaged, and that contract, the PPP is there. Saying that going further, the government should now create a framework. My brother from Jos called about these moribund industries that are littering in all the state. Engage people to do what you call PPP. The load on the government is too much, and I think the earlier we start contemplating how to load shade of the government, the better. Part of it is this PPP. Government can now, like power. It's just unfortunate that it didn't go well, but power industries, it's not the business of the government to own industry. Just like my brother says, you can have employment. No, privatize it. And I hope our privatization drivers will really look into it. So with that, it will now complement the job creation and the effort of the government vis-a-vis all any other existing agencies.
Okay, to Lagos, I'll come back to Abuja. Let's go to Lagos and take the last thought from Prof. Prof, in just a minute, it is very clear that hope is not lost. 100 million jobs in 10 years is achievable if all we have synergized, put together, is properly mainstreamed and implemented. So what's your last word?
having me here in Lagos. The truth of the matter is that, well, I want to sound also optimistic with the DG of NDA for seeing what to do. But, you know, those of us in the academia, we normally want to see proof of concept. If there is policy pronouncement by an executive, particularly the president, we expect that the agencies of government should put policy frame in place that some of us who are analysts will be able to look at it and see where they are going and how they want to get there. But having said that, it's good that the ND is working hard. We, in fact, I'm even quite excited with what they are doing and what he's telling us they are doing. And I want us to bring the National Orientation Agency on board so that they can give value orientation to people who are doing this work to build their integrity so that they can transfer that knowledge to others as well. And also, given what the National Council of Women Development is doing, that we also want the ND to synergize with them so that they can complement each other and see what they can add. And the legislator, I want also the Honorable to take it on board to see what are the steps they would take to see that they encourage agencies like the National Council for Women Development and also the ND to see that what are the bills they can sponsor to see how they'll be supported. And also, what are the budgetary provision? 2020, are there environment? Are there a kind of supplementary bills that will provide some kind of funding? This kind of work cannot go without appropriate funding to these agencies to ensure that they implement this policy and ensure that the policy pronouncement of the president comes to pass, producing 100 million jobs within the next 10 years. But don't forget, this policy started last year. About a year is already going, and by now we expected that we should be counting about 10 million jobs or 10 million people brought out of poverty. So I think we should speed up because the world is running at the speed of light. So I want to thank you for having me, and I believe that we wish the NDE well in its job creation strategies as well as the National Council for Women Development. Thank you very much.
At this point, Professor of Economics and also Director, Entrepreneurship Research and Development Center of the Kaduna State University, it was nice having you on Tuesday Live tonight. Thank you so much. Okay, back in Abuja, just DG, one word in conclusion.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you raise an issue which is very, very important. We are just given a multi-billion naira project by the federal government because Mr. President believed there is no difference between hungry, angry, unemployed Nigerian youth either in APC, PDP or Abuja control states. And the first estates that he asks us to go and handle this special public works, there are PDP states that are involved because he believed in being fair to all. My only call to Nigerian youth, more especially the ones that went to higher institution, let them drop the pride. The white collar job is not there. Let them come to us. Let them use their brain and their hands so that we can train them so that they can earn a living.
Thank you so much. Let me start from the DG, National Center for Women Development. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
We enjoyed your thoughts. And Abubakar Yunusa Ahmad, representing Yamal Tudiba Federal Constituency of Gombe State. It was nice having you on the program.
Thank you.
And last but not least, Dr. Nasiru Ladan Muhammad Argungu, DG, National Director of Employment. Thanks for being on Tuesday Live tonight.
Thank you very much.
And to our callers, we thank you for your call and your concerns. Those who sent in tweets, as much as we could not take all the tweets, don't give up, always part of the program, and one of these days we'll take your tweets. Our focus was on NDE and job creation in Nigeria. Mind you, the focus, the target is 100 million jobs in 10 years. That will be achievable. Thanks for watching the program tonight. Bye-bye.